Welcome back for this final hour of Hereticus. So, as I understood it, you all wanted to return to the Tricorn, the
Yes.
Inquisitorial headquarters.
Well, we have something nasty we need to basically hand off to someone higher in the system than us.
Yes, and speaking of nasty, could you all please give me a willpower test?
Is this to resist corruption?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Then I will simply spend a fate point instead and be immune.
Okay.
Is that's spending, not burning, I assume?
Yeah, spending.
No, burning is if you don't want to die.
Of course. Can we all do that, or is it just unique to...
That's just her.
If you have the ability, I think it's the one that's called Unshakable Faith or something.
I have that, so...
Or is it Pure Faith? It's either that or...
I think it's Pure Faith.
It'll be Pure Faith. Unshakable
yes.
Faith is,
Pure
I think
faith.
it's you are able to re-roll if you
yes,
fail.
that's true. Pure Faith is the one.
Okay.
Success for me.
No modifier,
And
I
for
assume.
me,
No modifier.
1.7.
Cool.
Hey! 3!
It's a
You've done
magic
well.
number.
It is, in this case, a very magic number.
Okay, cool. So as you all walk back toward the Tricorn, and you as well, Sister Francesca, you all, for a moment, your vision is blurs again. And Agalon, you've experienced this once already this session.
Yes.
And it's a similar sensation, and your minds are filled with blackness, and in this blackness there's just teeth and eyes and claws, and fortunately you are all able, through sheer force of will, to shake it off. It just lasts for a brief moment, and then you're back in reality, so to say.
Back in control.
Back in control of your own mind. And for Sister Francesca, she had a similar experience, only it was more detached. It wasn't as if anything was even close to gaining control of her.
It was more like watching it from the
Yes,
outside.
absolutely.
Yeah. That is still nasty, obviously. So
Yeah.
her reaction is still to when it looks like everyone is back around to look at the others and say, "Is everyone here okay?"
Akalon nods and looks between all of them, quite eyes narrowed rather than wide. He says, "You all saw that, didn't you?"
I saw something. She says,
Wouldn't call it seeing. It's quite dark.
That image was like unto the visions I have experienced before. We must be off. We must hand this thing over soon.
Yes, we will hand it over as soon as we get back and have a chance to get it to, a safe location, obviously. So, well, I think basically what this means is that she will redouble her speed, basically, because, we need to get there and soon.
It's just, yes, you could just imagine the sound go from clunk, clunk, clunk to clunk, 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 clunk.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
And I assume the rest of you also go back to the Tricorn post haste.
Will we double time it? Most
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Tim mutters prayers under his breath the entire way there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Well,
sounds like a very
Yeah,
wise
the-
precaution.
Medea does have surface navigation, and
Yeah.
she knows this place, so she can probably find the quickest route home.
Sure.
Oh, that's nice.
Sure.
Thank you.
Follow that scummer.
If you can, she's accustomed to crowds, so you have to call her if she's getting too far ahead of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Ring, ring. Hello. You're far ahead.
At some point, I have this weird mental image now. At some point when we get back, Akelon's going to have to take Medea aside and teach her a very quick and basic prayer for her own safety.
Yes, please. I've tried for a while, but I think mine might be a little too high-handed.
Yeah, I'm sure we can do. But anyway,
yeah.
do we get to the Tricorn and to Trina or the nearest other authority without any more needs for willpower tests?
You do return to the Tricorn without any further willpower tests being necessary.
I sense a butt coming.
No, not a butt as such. You.
Does it fart?
No, there's no farts. You return to your own the quarters you've been assigned to, or that have been assigned to you. And you do find Trina there. You specifically you find her in the librarium where she's poring over dozens of tomes, making notes and doing some kind of research.
Yeah, but we weren't supposed to go in there before we had a bath.
Well, I'm. You can go and have a bath all you want. That is absolutely fine. But Francesca's not stopping until she's had a chance to hand this thing over.
Yeah.
Oh, like that. Well, then let's hand it over.
So yeah, if Trina is there,
She is.
then Francesca will approach her respectfully. She is still, well, not superior, but she's higher up in the
Sure.
internal rank rank and order of this particular Inquisitor's retinue.
Yes.
So Francesca approaches her.
She looks up.
Pardon me for
returned.
interrupting.
Yes.
Yes, we have a slight emergency on our hands, and it is in this bag.
Yes. What is it?
It is an item which has just caused, as best I can gather, has just caused a bishop, the bishop of the Cathedral of the Winged Martyr, to cut himself to pieces, including removing his own ribs with a knife in front of the altar of the God Emperor in his own cathedral.
Yes, I've been made aware of the situation. And as you can see, I'm looking into it now. As she indicates the books that are lying on the desk before her, and they're all books on law and jurisdiction.
Yes.
Oh, good.
That's fine. She says, the point of the problem is that this thing it's painful to carry, even in a bag. And it has given people visions most disturbing on the way back. I was able to resist it to a greater extent.
And the others?
The others all snapped out of it very quickly and with full control of their faculties. But
we all made our willpower test, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm referring to there.
Yeah,
They suffered no ill effects, no change in behavior of any kind. They were they reacted with zeal and appropriate faith. I would, however, request that this item be placed somewhere out of reach, preferably under lock and key.
No better place than the Tricorn, I
Exactly. However, it is the first time we have found such an item, so I am not aware of where I need to go with it.
Sure. So, the thing is, though, that
Yes.
you have obviously, all of you, well, certainly your fellow agents, or your fellow acolytes have been exposed to this thing.
Indeed.
To some degree.
Indeed.
And
I have used the faith of the God Emperor to resist it, but I would certainly like to spend some time in the cathedral, or in the chapel, to make peace with the God Emperor.
Yes, and you shall have ample opportunity to do so, as we are, as of right now, in quarantine.
I see.
Pending the arrival of our Inquisitor.
Indeed. Well, I duly apologize for bringing this upon us, but I thought it better to bring this thing here right away.
Certainly. No apology necessary. I take it you will inform your fellow acolytes.
Absolutely, I shall do so right away.
Excellent.
Well, right away after I've handed this thing over to where it needs to be kept under lock and key.
You can hand it over to me and I'll make sure it gets...
Thank you very much. I appreciate it a great deal. And she hands it over.
Trina takes it, and she makes to exit the room, and then just before she does so, she turns around and says, "Oh, and we'll of course debrief when I get back."
Absolutely, thank you.
And then she does leave the room.
Out of character. She's going to go mad and kill everyone now, isn't she?
That's entirely possible.
Did she even remotely react to the painful thing?
Well, I suppose, Sister Francesca. Did the others go with Sister Francesca? I think.
Yep.
Okay.
Tim at least did, because, well, he doesn't need a shower.
Medea did too, because they had it directly here after we came.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, there's no point in me informing my fellow acolytes, because they're there and can hear it.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
So you are all aware of the quarantine thing.
Okay. Oh God, yes. She's now got to look into jurisdiction, as you said. That is so funny.
Medea looks at Francesca.
Mm-hmm.
What's quarantine?
It means that we are basically not to leave. Not only are we to not leave the Tricorn, we are not to leave our quarters without explicit permission, because we might have been infected by that thing.
Infected, corrupted.
Yes, indeed.
First day out and that happens. Perfect.
That is the life we are to live, and I bear it. I will live it gladly if it saves others.
I think, she says and looks at the rest of you, I think we can say with no small degree of certainty that we have done a good thing today for the Imperium. Remember that this, again, was not a matter of a few people in a back street somewhere, but a man of tremendous power and influence who could, in fact, have spread heresy and corruption on millions of the Emperor's subjects if he had not been stopped. And that is what happened there today, is that he was in fact stopped. That is a reason to be joyful.
Yes. This...
Gonna have a party for one in my room then.
I should say that someone raised the question of whether or not it's apparent that or if Trina had any reaction to handling the.
I don't think it is Trinia. That is
Trina.
Trinia, yes. Trinia is in a slightly different game, which we don't play.
Their name is so similar.
It is. It is.
I know.
Actually, entirely accidental, but yes.
Yeah.
If you want to see if there's any reaction, it would require a scrutiny test, which is basically perception. If you don't have, it's basic. So if you don't have it, you can roll it at half.
I will do that just because.
Damn it!
I actually managed to succeed with a 17. Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Cool. Then yes, for a split second there's a flinch as the bag is handed over, and the warp thing, or not the warp, but the whatever it is affects Trina.
Chaos-infested, horrible nastiness.
That's good. If it affects her, she's probably not happy with it, and she's not supposed to be, so yay.
Yay! Yippee!
We'll find out in a moment. If she starts screaming in ecstasy and pain, then we should probably end her.
Indeed. Okay, so what are you all going to do?
Find a bath.
Find a bath?
It's starting to smell.
Well, she did say that I was allowed to go to the chapel. So yes, bath, chapel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does that only extend to Sister Francesca?
Nope. You're all as long as you don't leave your quarters, you can do whatever you like.
The chapel is not my quarters.
Well, it is by quarters. I mean your own personal cells, but also the training facilities, the librarium, the chapel, the etc.
Yeah. So basically,
okay.
the part of the tricorn that we live in is what we are quarantined to.
Yes.
Yes, definitely chapel. Chapel.
I think yeah. So yeah, bath. And actually, that's a good point. Do our cells come with wash baskets or something?
Yes.
What do we do about clothes we want washed? So because the point is that when anyone next sees Achelon, assuming they had seen him bathing, which they probably, or showering, which they probably won't, because
no, you have private.
Showering for him is going to be quite interesting because of all the metal bits in his head.
Yeah.
But the next time you see him, he's going to be wearing a fairly simple brown cassock or something similar.
Yep.
Just basic working robes, the kind of thing that most Imperial servants would wear.
There are wash utilities. You can absolutely wash your clothes.
Yay.
So that's a thing.
Get my armor clean.
Yes.
You know what?
Exactly.
He doesn't need it, but Sim will have a bath as well, just to wash the ick out.
Yeah, makes sense. And and also there's also an area where you can maintain your arms and your armor. No problem. Okay, so some of you go to the chapel, and what do you do once you get there? You have your own. There was a quartermaster who was a part of the whole thing you have here, and also an ecclesiarch.
Yes, or priest.
Yes, or a priest named Assos. Assos. Sorry.
Yes.
And he's there as well.
So he's a confessor or something, basically. Yes. So somebody you can actually, who can take your confession if that's what you need to do.
Yes, he is a retired battle missionary.
Right.
He's no longer operating on the front, obviously, but he used to. But yes, he can absolutely take your confession if needed.
Well, Francesca will take confession on general principle, because you should do that ever so often. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, she's just going to be spending some time praying, meditating, contemplating the nature of the God Emperor and his divinity above all else, and purge the heretic and come up with interesting and imaginative ways in which to actually do that purging.
Okay.
And praying until I feel the ick go away a little bit, which will probably take a long while.
Yeah, well, you are in the presence of not only a sister of battle, but also a confessor who can help you in that regard. So
yeah, I would say. I mean, to be honest, again, I feel like such a copycat. But basically, yeah, exactly what Sister Francesca is doing, although perhaps with slightly different inflections and thought Akelon will be doing something similar because
nothing copycatty about that. I should say it's what any good Imperial citizen should do in a situation like this.
Of course, it's just to be one the same as many others is no weakness within the Imperium.
No, it's not.
Speaking of good Imperial citizens, what does Medea do?
Oh,
while the others...
nice segue. Nice segue.
While the others are in the chapel doing their spiritual thing.
I think she can't hear us. I think she's having a quiet thing again.
Oh dear.
Sorry, what?
I was just asking what Medea is doing while the others are doing their spiritual thing in the chapel.
Getting a bath.
Okay.
And if she can get a spare set of clothing, she won't run around naked.
She absolutely can get a spare set of clothing. So also, Trina arrives shortly after she left. Basically, she's handed the bag over to someone somewhere. You don't know, and you don't need to know. And
exactly. I'm quite happy to not know.
Yeah, and so since Medea is the only one who's not currently doing their spiritual thing in the chapel, Trina approaches Medea after she's had her bath and changed into a clean pair of clothing and so on. Might I have a word with you?
All right.
So, our dear Inquisitor has asked me to inform you that you will all undertake a hypnochemical treatment.
Her face looks like a question mark.
I do so love your ignorance, Medea. Basic.
Her face changes to "fuck you, bitch."
That I don't like so much. But basically, what it is 2 hours of excruciating pain during which any and all sense of infection will be found out.
Alright.
I take
What's it called
you've
again?
hypnochemical treatment.
Hypnochemical treatment.
And I am going to assume that you have not tried something to that effect before.
I don't know. I don't know what they did in the prison.
That was hard. That was... I sincerely doubt that was hypnochemical treatment.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know that will be a thing. The Inquisitor herself will not participate. Instead, we will have some medici come here and do the proceedings. So if you could just be available tomorrow at
Should
dawn.
I tell the others?
Yes, you should. I haven't told them yet because they are currently in the chapel, and that is something I do not wish to disturb. But I trust that you will bring them the message.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Tomorrow at dawn.
Tomorrow at dawn, yes. Excellent, excellent. She smiles and nods and then walks back into the librarium where you initially found her.
Medea turns around muttering, "I really need to find out what ignorance means."
That is good. I like that.
Okay, so the rest of you eventually, I imagine, wrap up your spiritual thing.
Medea is waiting outside the chapel.
You could have come in, you know.
Yeah, but I have to remember these 3 words. Otherwise I'll just slip away. Trina came by and said we have to be ready tomorrow at dawn for a hypnochemical stuff. Treats something.
Treatment.
That thing.
I have at least heard of it.
I haven't. But that was about it.
I've seen it done by the Sisters Hospitaller.
All right.
It is not pretty.
Well, we have to do it either way.
Oh, yeah.
It is necessary.
Well, here's the thing. She says, I find it... Well, I would find it a slight on my order's reputation if there was any indication that I was in fact tainted. However, nobody is above the orders of an inquisitor, and if she feels that it is necessary, then I will certainly undertake it. I just have to make sure that the rest of you are also aware that this is quite probably going to be the most painful hours of your lives.
Medea shrugs.
Best enjoy that party for one then.
I think, Medea, that there is a chance that this is sufficiently horrible that it may even affect you.
Good. And then she walks towards her chambers.
Well, I suppose at least it'll be an experience for her.
She's never really felt pain before, so to her it's new.
Yeah, exactly.
And gives her a feeling of actually being alive. Where everyone else has been, oh no, I cut my arm, ow, ow, ow. She's just been, does that mean I'm dead?
Well,
yes.
Not that the others would know, but that's how she feels. When she felt the headache for the first time, it was new and kind of, ooh, I'm alive-ish.
I welcome. Even if it is the most terrible pain, I welcome it, for by it I shall be proven either to be pure and ready to serve, or faltering and swiftly killed, and my threat ended.
That is an admirable opinion or stance to take. I, for one, obviously hope that you will be proven pure.
Believe me, so do I. This last endeavor that we have succeeded in has brought to focus the good I can be and the duty I can do for the Emperor, and I do not wish for that to end.
It could probably have been handled more elegantly by someone less conspicuous than, well, at least than me, and to a certain extent you. If it had been in the hands of men and women like Tim and Medea, in all likelihood this would have happened very stealthily and very quietly. And I honestly think that would have been preferable in hindsight. I am good for some things, not for all things, and this is one of the things that I'm not terribly good at. What I do have, or what I feel I brought to this, was some authority in the face of especially in the face of the Arbites.
Tim nods.
Yes.
And incidentally, when that creature fired a warning shot, he should be very happy that I stuck to firing a warning shot back.
Indeed. I understand your I understand your analysis of the nature of our actions today, and I appreciate that there is definitely merit to what you say, but remember that analysis in too great a deal will be the bane of your conviction.
How do you mean?
Is it not said that to question is to lose such conviction, and that a questioning faithful is more dangerous than an ignorant heretic?
I never question my faith. I never question the
Of course not.
the divinity of the God Emperor, but I should always question myself. I am fallible and flawed. And the only way I can better myself is by questioning my own actions.
Very true. But while it is always good to do so and to improve in the meantime, I also recognize, as I'm sure you do, the importance of being able to act with detachment.
Oh, certainly.
Anyway, we can debate this.
We will have plenty of time to do that now that we are going into an extended period of, well, probably an extended period of quarantine.
Well,
and I can't really shake the feeling that our supervisor, if you will call her that, isn't entirely displeased by the fact that we have to undergo this tomorrow. I don't think she likes us very much.
I must confess, you all seem to have had her speak to you in private. I have not been graced with such a audience. Although I suspect that
she's a highly capable woman. There's no question of that, and I have nothing but respect for her. She might not like me, but yeah. And I read that on the basis of her demeanor when I brought this to her, and she was bent over books, and her exact choice of words, something to the effect of that she had heard about it, and she then gestured towards the books. I don't think she likes me very much. She doesn't have to.
Indeed. Anyway, I must prepare myself for the morning's trials.
By all means.
And I wish you both the best. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and if not, then it has been a pleasure.
Go with the Emperor, Achelon.
You as well, sister. I apologize. You as well, Francesca.
Thank you.
And with that, he goes off to spend the night getting what sleep he can.
Seems like a good idea.
Endured.
Okay. So
bring on the pain.
Before you get that far, though, you are all summoned to the librarium.
Oh, interesting. Well, heading to the librarian then.
Is someone blowing their nose very
loudly?
Yes,
Rasmus is.
Well, at least I muted my mic before I did.
But God, that was biblical. We could hear it through Jen's microphone.
It was the flood of snot.
Yes. Nurgle's blessings be upon you. As I assume at least that that's really nothing to be thankful for. If you are a cultist of Nurgle, I suppose.
Please don't give him ideas. I have to house that man.
I don't think Nurgles for me. There are other chaos gods I would prefer.
Yes. I imagine.
So where we're going?
You are going into the librarium. At least you've been summoned there.
Yeah.
How?
Through there's the Vox system in the section of the Tricon you're in.
Okay.
Someone can use. In this case, Trina.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
sadly not some bored monotone intern. Just
No.
Okay, fair enough. So
So you reach the librarian, each of you,
Yes.
I take it. And she's in there, still poring over books, doing her research. Apparently it's quite a complicated matter.
Medea feels some sort of schadenfreude over this.
Without looking up, she indicates for you to sit as you enter the librarium. There's a massive table, which incidentally is where she's doing her research, and yeah.
Well, Medea goes to sit down.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Quite the pinch we're in, thanks to you lot. So, I don't know if you're aware of this. You may not be. But while Scintilla is the seat of power for the Inquisition in this sector, it is also the seat of power for the Adeptus Arbitis in this sector. We have, throughout the history of this planet, let's say we've had an interesting relationship with the Adeptus Arbitis. And we've reached a place where both organizations are, if not happy, then at least content with the situation, power-wise. It doesn't take much for this. I won't call it a truce because we're not at war with the Adeptus Arbitis, but it is very similar. It doesn't take much to break this this standstill we're at currently. It only takes a few warning shots.
Indeed.
Indeed. The point I'm trying to make here is you are all pawns in... we are all pawns, because I am as much a pawn as you are. We are all pawns in this political game that rages on between the Adeptus Arbitis and the Inquisition.
Indeed.
And as such, we must do our part. And right now, our part is to not stir up the hornet's nest. And she looks at Francesca as she's saying this.
Mm-hmm.
With all due respect, Acolyte Holster, why else would the good Inquisitor recruit a sister of battle, if not for the purpose of making a statement?
I won't pretend to know anything about our Inquisitor's choices, so I can't answer that question.
It is quite all right. I will be. I am perfectly prepared to be. What's it called? Chastised for this situation. I have nothing to hide.
No.
I did not fire the first shot. I answered the first shot with a shot of my own. I will stand by that. And I did so because in that situation, an upstart twerp was of the mistaken belief that he had jurisdictional rights to detain an acolyte of the Inquisition even after he had been told that this person was an acolyte of the Inquisition.
Yes.
Therein lies the reason.
And this is where the hornet's nest comes into play, because over the course of the Inquisitions and the Adeptus Arbitus presence here at Scintilla, the Inquisition has been forced through political maneuverings to quite often allow the detainment of an inquisitorial agent. There are certain rules in place regarding the nature of how an agent of the Inquisition are to be detained. However, it has happened before, and with the blessing of the Inquisition.
Very well. If that is the way that the system works, then that is the way that the system works.
Yes. However,
without doubt, I shall, as I said, if I am to be chastised for what I did, I shall accept it.
However,
Mm-hmm.
as I read the report that I have before me, those rules were set aside by the commanding arbitrator. Specifically, the arbitrator failed to identify himself as a commanding arbitrator before ordering the apprehension. Secondly, he did not perform the apprehension himself, which he should have done. So his apprehension of Aguilon was unlawful, and the hornet's nest has indeed been stirred. Not by you. I say these things primarily because my Inquisitor has ordered me to do so, but also because it is important that you know that there are things here on Scintilla aren't quite as black and white as they are elsewhere. It is the seat of power for many imperial organizations, and political maneuverings have happened throughout the ages that have made things quite complicated here on Scintilla. Be aware of this as you deal with the other organizations.
Indeed.
Even if you feel you are in the right, I would suggest, Sister Francesca, and the rest of you for that matter, that you take some time while you are quarantined to read up on the history of our organization here on Scintilla. And
I was actually about to ask if there was such a set of, well, one thing about the history, but also if there is a set of rules that are outside the norm, so to say, that would be, for example, such as in this particular situation.
Yes. There are, and there aren't, because they haven't been written down as such. However, I may be able to procure some files that may help in that regard.
That would be most helpful, and I will make sure to study them thoroughly. Had I known of this, I would have reacted differently.
Yes. Well, now you know, and just keeping in mind going forward that it can be tricksy down here, or tricky. She doesn't say tricksy. Not Gollum.
No, I should hope not. I should hope not.
Just give me
Nice.
That is, well, it is obviously it is good advice and most welcome for that reason. It is thought-provoking.
How so?
It is thought-provoking to me that an organization, I shouldn't even call it that, because the Inquisition is more than merely an organization. The Inquisition has no equal, and the fact that the Inquisition has felt at some point in the past a need to allow itself to be tethered in such a way is...
It is unfortunate.
It is indeed. It is unfortunate, it is perplexing, and it also means that while this may indeed have happened centuries or even millennia ago, to this day, it will necessarily hamstring the full use of inquisitorial power. Now, I'm perfectly aware of my own lowly position within the whole system. That's not what I'm trying to say here. I felt uneasy pulling any kind of rank during this situation, but I felt I had to do something to prevent what I saw as an unlawful situation from escalating. And but my point is that the Inquisition must have freedom of action in order to be able to persecute, well, in our case, heretics and heresy freely. But if at the same time we have to somehow find ways to not offend and upset the arbitres who, for all their skill, are keepers of law and order, and I don't know who else. I imagine people like the Administratum would be another group that we would then have some kind of special arrangement with. It must needlessly, or at least, well, if not needlessly, then at least significantly hamper any undertaking in the entire sector. Oh well, it is as it is, and I shall abide by it.
As shall we all.
Yes, as shall we all indeed. With that out of the way, what happened down at that cathedral? I have a report, but that report is written by arbitrators, so it hardly tells the entire story.
Well, Francesca looks at the others to see if any of them want to tell it, or if she should.
Tim looks happy to not tell it.
Akelon's feeling a little talkative, so...
She definitely lets him have the word then. She's done enough talking for a while.
Yes. Akelon's getting used to... He's enjoying this feeling of being a little bit more assertive now and then. So yes, he explains. So after attempting a subtle investigation of street preachers in the area and Sister Francesca's righteous and legal execution of a repeated heretical street preacher before the people of the Mid-Hive, there was a commotion from the cathedral, which I believe Medea and Tim were witness to. Several persons fled from inside the cathedral, the outside, the doors swinging wide, and they themselves were the first to enter and investigate. For mine and Francesca's part, we got there afterwards, and what we saw was the High Bishop at the altar, engaged in his heretical practices. We approached. Francesca ordered him to desist. He seemed, although he turned to acknowledge that there was some presence, he seemed unaware of us, called for rain. And then indeed it did. It rained blood inside the cathedral. At which point both myself and Francesca felt it necessary and right to end him. And we both shot at him. He was prostrated across the altar. The rain continued for a time after that, though not for long. Myself and Francesca both went outside to ensure that no citizenry entered the cathedral. And at first I was to disperse the crowd, which is around the time the arbitrators showed up and attempted to detain me. And from there, the standoff occurred. Once the matter had cooled and the runner was sent to resolve the situation and bring a commander or a senior authority in from the arbitrators to resolve the situation, I was able to make my way up to the stairs and then, on Sister Francesca's orders, went into the cathedral following a great commotion, loud screeching of metal, and among other things we heard Medea, quite animated, I must say.
Medea looks very innocent.
Mm-hmm. She's very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
The sister furnished me with her auspex and insisted that I gather evidence, which I duly did, including the artifact, which we returned to you, along with other readings and images. Then from there, I waited for Medea and Tim to return from further within the cathedral, where they had been otherwise engaged by the abominable, twisted mess of machine and flesh. And from there, once we were all regrouped outside, we left the crime scene to the arbitrators and made our way duly back here. And from there, of course, you should know the rest.
Yes. Indeed I do. And that is all that transpired in the cathedral.
Well, all that I saw.
Does anyone have anything to add to what Achelon has already explained?
I feel like I should add what Medea. Initially we saw the priest. He was quite focused on the altar. When we went in, before the commotion that drew back Achelon to the cathedral, we saw an unholy contraption of flesh and steel fall from the ceiling with a priest on top of it. He seemed to have removed his own eyes and seemed to be enjoying the ride.
Yes, the remnants of that device that I recorded and took images of, the flesh that was twisted in amongst the metal, though dead, did not appear to have been so very long. I imagine that a lot of whatever the poor souls that were trapped in that abomination were still alive on the way down.
And you say you have pics of this contraption?
Sister Francesca's auspex, yes.
Right. I'll need to see
well,
that.
The ruins of it, obviously, is what after it hit the floor.
Certainly.
And I also feel it's important to add a few words, namely that seeing as Achelon and I arrived a little later, and consequently did not see the initial exchange, if there was one, between Medea and Tim and the bishop, but what we did see was that he was cutting himself. And he had specifically started cutting out his own ribs. And 2 of them he had managed to cut out and place on the altar. I mean, the things I feel is important to underscore here is the fact that no rational, sane person would be able to do such a thing. Even insane people would be unable to do such a thing. You would pass out from the agony.
You would.
And yet he was standing there. I won't call him lucid, but still speaking until he called for the rain and it started coming down bloody, and we then shot him.
There is one other thing in regards to that, I must confess.
What is that?
When I looked upon him as we approached and as you spoke, sister, he again appeared in the visage I saw of him before my 3 days fasting.
Oh, true. You did mention that, and we have spoken of this before. Yes, that you saw him in the guise of this skeletal figure.
A skeleton clad in black armor, not of the fashion of an Astartes fallen or otherwise, but armor of a more classical variety.
So more primitive, but metal armor.
Yes, the kind you might find on a feudal world, I suppose.
Oh, right.
But yes, completely blackened, and
there was a skeletal figure within it.
yes, the visage appeared briefly, but faded, and mostly as you confronted him, and then completely as he expired.
Well, tomorrow's treatment should certainly be interesting.
Most definitely.
And we shall stop there. Because it is 11:05.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't even notice.
For some people it is, yeah.
Yeah, for some people it is. Okay, so we'll stop there for now, and we'll pick back up with that same conversation, only with a slightly different focus next time.
Interesting.
So.
That sounds very icky already.
So, GM, what XP do we gain tonight?
Well.
What does it matter? We'll all be dead after next time anyway.
That's Dark Heresy for you.
Yeah.
Dark Heresy, the game that has 4 pages of critical hit charts.
Yeah. If that, I think it's more, really.
Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway,
okay.
Let's see. Fun times were had.
Indeed. Much fun.
250.
250.
250.
Yay.
Excellent.
Yes. And with
That's
that, nice. I think I'll stop the recording. And to our viewing and or listening audience, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Hereticus, and that you'll join us next time for more 41st Millennium goodness. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.